Israel began their localized raids on Gaza while striking Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. Iran is now warning that a continued blockade of the Palestinian enclave could open up a new front in the conflict. But it's not just Iran. Powerful Iraqi and Yemeni armed groups who are allies of Iran have also threatened to target U.S. interests if America intervenes and continues to support Israel. Joining me now to discuss is Newsmax foreign policy analyst and author of Iran, an Imperialist Republic, and U.S. policy, Walid Faris. Also with us is counterterrorism and foreign policy expert and editor-in-chief for the Foreign Desk, Lisa Daftari. Thank you so much, both of you, for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Walid, let's start with you first. We're hearing that the defense minister of Iran met with the leader of Hamas in Qatar today. How can the Biden administration deny that Iran is involved or they don't have any clear evidence? What more evidence do you need than that?
That's what I said last week, over years, not just months. Iran's regime, Hamas, Hezbollah, remnants of the Assad regime, and the militias in Iraq. In addition, as you just said, the Houthi forces in Yemen have formed a equivalent to the Comintern. Who was the head of that organization before he was eliminated by the United States? Qasem Soleimani. This is the army of Qasem Soleimani, which organizes from Iran into the region and decides on the timing, decides on the group. So they assign this first offensive on Hamas, in Hamas's land, that's Gaza. They prepare Hezbollah in the north, and they have their missiles in Iraq and Syria. This is why we see from time to time the Israelis striking inside Syria and Iraq to cut off Iran from the Mediterranean Sea. And the Battle of Gaza is not just for Israel and with Israel. It's really a battle between the Iranian, quote-unquote, Iranian regime empire and the free world.
Right, absolutely. Now, Lisa, there are reports that U.S. intelligence was warned of a potential for Gaza clash in the days before attacks. I saw another report that they were openly rehearsing and practicing their attacks before they actually went in. Talk to me about the intelligence failures here, not only in Israel, but in Egypt and Lebanon, the United States. How could this happen without anyone knowing about it?
Right, and that's the question everyone asks, particularly for Israel being the premier in counterterrorism efforts, because they have to be. They cannot be vulnerable for even a moment, because we saw what happened when they were. Look, I've heard a lot of different reasons as to why Israel was caught off guard, and none of them have really sat well with me. I don't believe for a second that Israel had, it was a weekend or they were, on a holiday or whatever it was. But to your point, I think it trickles down to the United States as well. This is a stain on our reputation. Israel is our number one ally. And they're not only, to Walid's point, fighting this for themselves, they're fighting it for the free world. And because Israel is our eyes, ears, boots on the ground in the region, that it was our responsibility as well to have the proper intel to really sniff out an attack of this caliber. I mean, the sophistication goes back to, of course, the Iran regime is behind this, because Hamas, a ratty little terror organization, would not be capable of carrying out such a complex mission as it did.
Absolutely, with the paragliders, and it was just so complex, and it's hard. It's still hard to wrap your brain around that it actually happened. Now, Walid, there are confirmed reports that Hamas is telling Palestinians to stay put, to stay where they are, despite Israel warning them to leave. So they want their own people to be killed. They want to use them as props to kind of fan the flame of hatred towards Israel, it seems like.
Well, of course, if those civilians seeking security and safety, and Israel is warning them, and is warning them like many, many times, this is a message to the international community by the Israelis that if we want to advance, if you want to achieve some goals, you have all the evidence that we've done everything we could. We've done as much as Americans, British or French, or even the Saudis or the Egyptians when they intervene in an area. But Hamas leadership knows very well that if they lose those human shields who would flee, let's say, to a safe zone in Egypt, they will lose the battle. They are using the people of Gaza to preserve themselves and to conduct another counteroffensive, waiting maybe for Hezbollah and others to enter the dance as well.
Lisa, we have a minute left. Hamas, they don't want to coexist. They want elimination from the river to the sea. They want to wipe Israel off the map. What do you say to people that continue to go out there and cheer and support for Hamas, for Palestinians, and don't understand just how devastating this is, not for just Israel, but for civilization as we know it?
Right. And my number one point to anyone like this is, if you care about the Palestinian people, the number one victims of the number one victims of Hamas are the Palestinian people. We've said this for over a decade. I wrote a piece in 2014 about how the Gazans are actually more upset and frustrated with their government, which is Hamas, than they are with Israel. And it got me put on the Hamas hit list, if you believe it. They don't want these narratives to come out. For more than a decade, we've been talking about it. And we care about the Palestinian people. Of course we do. They're being used as human shields. They're being used as props. And for those who ask for the receipts that this never even happened, that what we're talking about in terms of beheading of babies and the hostages is all propaganda, ask Hamas for the receipts. They're gladly putting those videos out there. They're flaunting this attack. Iran's regime is flaunting this attack. Hamas is flaunting this attack. But yet, people ask questions. They want to say that they're defending the Palestinians by defending Hamas. Hamas is a terror organization. There's nothing to justify it. It's not over land. It's not over a blockade. It's not over a two-state solution. No one goes out and beheads babies for any political policy.
And they're proud of it. Lisa Daftari, Waleed Faris, thank you so much.